The next morning, Mrs. Perkins completed Liam's enrollment forms. Natalie was impressed by her speed and efficiency. She and Mrs. Perkins drove Liam over to the Woodling Academy. Seeing Liam outside the school gates in his smart tailored suit, a backpack slung over his shoulder, Natalie smiled with satisfaction. "Okay, Liam, hurry on in. Remember, you have to behave yourself at school, or else I'll make you go to kindergarten," Natalie warned. Natalie watched him enter the school, feeling a sudden emptiness inside her. Her little Liam was really growing up so quickly. It was Monday, and it was also the first day of Natalie's job at Star Entertainment. In the afternoon, she went to the office. She wanted to discuss the matter of Tony Bovel with the department head. If she remembered correctly, the name of this guy was Gary Willis. Willis welcomed Natalie into his office, and they greeted each other before she got straight to the point of her visit. "I want to be Tony Bovel's manager. He's a rare talent, and I've seen his performances. As long as he's guided properly, I think he'll definitely become a big star." Natalie looked at Willis cautiously, but he said, "Natalie, to be honest, this guy Bovel has already been lined up for you to guide. I've read your resume, and it's outstanding. Not only that, you will have a special privilege. Your role in the company is just to manage and protect Tony Bovel. That's all. If you have any problems, you can go to your superior to resolve them." "Thank you," she said gratefully. She asked for directions to the practice room and went there immediately. Meanwhile, in a director's office elsewhere, a man was leaning against a leather sofa, sipping his coffee. He had a stern expression. This man was Tony Bovel's manager, Mark Ellington. There was another, younger man in the room. He was even more handsome. This was Tony Bovel. Ellington put his coffee cup into its saucer and said, "Tony, have you considered what I said to you last night? Are you really that sad to see me today?" Ellington's eyes were bright and eager as he looked at Tony. Tony said nothing. Failing to suppress his anger, he looked at Ellington with hostility. "You're even more good-looking when you're angry, you know that?" Then Ellington changed his tone and continued, "As long as you agree to the conditions I offered you yesterday, I can definitely make you famous. Then you'll have enough money to help that seriously sick sister of yours." At the mention of his sister's illness, Tony's face turned pale, and his body trembled even more. Ellington saw that his words were having an effect, and he felt determined to get what he wanted. Tony bit his bottom lip. He felt lost, with nowhere to run. He hated Ellington for insulting him time after time. Just at that moment, someone knocked on the door and walked straight in, Ellington's assistant. The assistant lowered his head and said, "Mr. Ellington, it's not good news. I've been told that the company has assigned Mr. Bovel to another agent. From today, the other agent will be looking after him." Tony's eyes filled with the light of hope at this. But Ellington cut across these thoughts, yelling, "Ridiculous! Howard and I are good friends. No one would dare snatch my people away. This new agent has no idea who they're dealing with here. There's no need to worry about them." He snorted, not giving the new agent another thought. The assistant felt embarrassed. He gave Tony a worried look and left the office. With just the two of them in the office again, Ellington sat thinking before laughing out loud. "So, my big star, Tony. I've been waiting on you for a long time now. Have you still not made up your mind? The artist's golden period doesn't last very long. How many good years do you think you have left?" These words ignited Tony's anger, and rage filled them. "But I'm not interested in you, or in what you want." "I know, Tony, I know. But you know how this industry works, and you're already in it. Being naive will just cause you more suffering." He had kept Tony effectively hidden away from potential employers for 2 years, and he could easily keep him hidden for another 2. Ellington refused to let go of his opportunity and kept probing at Tony's weakness. "Okay, let's consider that in this day and age, everyone needs a financial backer. How can you become popular otherwise?" Finally, Tony snapped, punching a glass bottle on the counter next to him and grazing his knuckles. He yelled, "Will you stop this blackmail? I want to change agents." "Look, Howard and I are good friends. In this company, he has the ultimate authority. Why don't you ask him to change your agent and see if he approves a swap?" Tony stood there in despair, feeling trapped. It was as if his life was over, with no way out. Just at that moment, the door banged open loudly. Natalie stood in the doorway, glaring. She'd been listening to the men's conversation from outside and was furious. She stormed into the office. She'd been wondering why Tony Bobble was hidden away from all opportunities, and now she knew. It was all down to his leech of an agent, Ellington. Tony had been hidden away for 2 whole years, and now Ellington was threatening him with more of the same. Natalie didn't think of herself as a savior, but she knew talent when she saw it. In the years she'd spent abroad, she'd seen artists that had talent who weren't popular, but some of them had been constrained by their agents too. Once Natalie had intervened and mentored them, though, those artists had become famous. However, none of those artists were in the exact same situation as Tony. Ellington, she thought, was shameless. Ellington looked at Natalie angrily and roared, "Who the hell are you? Don't you know whose office this is? How dare you barge in here without knocking?"
Hi, I am Natalie. Want to know my story? Then download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of The Return Now.